Billion people, China has one of the most expansive cultures in the modern world. But just because it has more people doesn't mean that all of China's habits, rules, or routines are considered normal by everyone. From bizarre delicacies and wacky wedding traditions to the strange reason why police forces are employing geese. It's time to check out some things you'll find unbelievable that amazingly happen in China every day. Nation of napping. As the second richest country in the world, it's no surprise that China is all about the go, go, go. But how do they remain so productive and efficient? It's their secret. Well, it's simple, really. Sleep. Studies show that a good night's rest can improve your concentration, learning, and reduce stress levels. In fact, a quick power nap in the afternoon is proven to enhance mood, performance, and alertness. And trust me, the Chinese are well aware of this. So much so that napping, specifically an after-lunch nap, is heavily ingrained into their culture. They have a common saying, which translated says, "At noon, if you don't sleep, then afternoon you will crash." And with that, the Chinese are actually encouraged to sleep during work hours, in hopes of being more productive. No, seriously. Factories and offices up and down the country often enforce post-lunch naps. Why? Well, this is tied to China's 996 culture, which emerged in the 2000s, working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. This long schedule has helped drive an explosive economic boom across the country. But while it does include a 2-hour lunch break where they can take a nice long nap, you have to admit that is one very long work week. Now, with afternoon siestas being so normal, it's also not uncommon to spot people catching a few Z's out in public. From public transport to apparently even IKEA. This guy went as far as to set up a hammock on the subway. But it's these electrical workers that get first prize for dangerous napping habits on the job by tying themselves to power pylons while dangling 160 feet in the air and getting some shut-eye. Having to climb up the massive towers is incredibly tiring, so to prevent them constantly climbing up and down, they stay up there all day, only heading down when it's time to eat. Now that is what you call a power nap. However, extreme napping isn't just tied to work. Early afternoon napping is encouraged right from elementary school. Take, for example, the children of Gelshan Elementary School in the Shanxi province. After lunch, the whole class will climb atop their desks and get to snoozing. That said, one school in eastern China is now having the children sleep in tents, as they claim sleeping on a wooden desk will result in poor sleep and spinal issues. Anyway, even though napping is proven to increase productivity, I don't think my boss will ever get on board with the idea. I mean, I almost got fired last time you caught me sleeping. The Red Sea. With their flag being almost entirely red, it's no surprise that red is a significant color in China. In fact, it's said to symbolize luck, joy, and even ward off evil. That said, it wasn't all that lucky when their rivers turned red.
You grew up on crime scenes, and you think this is one too. It's not.
The first line for the song politics, it tends to be someone he knows.
Offenses, a murder at the end of the world. Now streaming only on Hulu.
Stretching over 3,900 miles long, the Yangtze River is the longest in China, and actually the third in the whole world. However, back in 2012, part of the river turned a peculiar shade of red. Why? Well, no one could quite figure that out, although it was suspected to be a result of an illegal waste dump. See, the main concentration of red was in Chongqing, one of China's largest industrial centers. It seems some kind of manufacturing waste product had been dumped in the waters, causing them to change to a greenish shade of red. Now, waste disposal has become a lucrative industry in China, With the waste management market expected to grow a whopping 7% from 2019 to 2024 alone, companies can further increase profits by employing middlemen to deal with the waste. However, oftentimes the waste will get passed on to a secondary middleman, so on and so forth, until it eventually ends up being illegally dumped, such as in a river. In fact, reports state that in 2016 alone, nearly 10,000 tons of waste just from the city of Hainan was dumped into the Yangtze River. But perhaps one of the most bizarre cases was in 2013, when some 16,000 pig carcasses were found rotting along the river. Suddenly, the color of the river seems the least of China's problems. Mind your manners. If you eat like me, you've probably been told more than once not to chew with your mouth open. Don't smack your lips and don't burp or make a mess at the table. Over in China, however, I'd be celebrated for my sloppy eating habits. Hear loud slurping noises when eating noodles and lips isn't just accepted. It's considered a compliment to the chef and an expression that you're enjoying the food. Clearly that was some real good grub. And if you're full enough to belch, let it out, because that too is considered a sign you've enjoyed your meal. However, there's one dinner etiquette I don't think I can get behind, and that's the cavalier attitude to spitting some Chinese restaurant patrons engage in. With many dishes involving small bones, seeds, or skins, instead of tediously picking them out, it used to be culturally accepted to just spit them out onto the floor. Traditionally, the act of spitting is seen as cleansing in China, and so it's not unusual to see people still doing this. However, it's not as accepted as it used to be, with cities like Guangzhou banning spitting in public back in 2020. Well, as long as it's not in my food, I'm happy. Back in 2018, China's total trade in goods was worth an astronomical $4.6 trillion. It was around 12.4% of all worldwide trade. However, with demand sometimes exceeding supply, transit vehicles across the country can end up being chronically overloaded with stock. In fact, according to authorities, as much as 80% of vehicles are overloaded. And if you think I'm exaggerating, then just get a load of this next story. Back in 2019, 2 freight trucks were traveling over an overpass in the Jiangsu province. The first truck was carrying 7 piles of steel coils and the second 6 piles, resulting in both the trucks having a combined weight of more than 100 tons. The first truck managed to clear the overpass safely. However, as the second one approached, the entire structure gave way and collapsed, crushing the cars beneath. Luckily, the truck driver got off with just injuries, though the same couldn't be said for 3 others who sadly lost their lives. This wasn't the first time this had happened either. It's estimated an unreal 69 bridges collapsed between 2006 and 2016 due to overloaded vehicles. Considering 7 bridges a year, more than 1 bridge collapse every 2 months. That ain't normal. Authorities are more cracking down on regulations and inspection as to avoid any more incidents. Then again, judging by photos like this, it seems people generally don't care all that much about the risks overloaded vehicles pose in China. That's at least a 50-seater car. Putting the fun in funeral. Have you ever wondered what your own funeral will be like? Open casket, a Latin choir, pyrotechnics, and Barbara Streisand. The perfect send-off. My point is, are you not a little curious as to what might happen after you die? Well, wonder no more, because there's actually a place in China designed to give you the full death experience, minus the death part. Located in theme parks in Shenzhen and the high streets in Shanghai, Samadhi, the 4D experience of death, is a sort of escape room that invites participants to complete a series of challenges to avoid dying. Those who die will be laid to rest on a fake crematorium conveyor belt which uses hot air blasted up to a spicy 4 degrees Celsius and light projections to make the so-called authentic experience of burning. In fact, the creators Ding Ru and Huang Weipeng were so dedicated to creating a realistic experience that they actually put themselves through a real-life cremating furnace with the flames off. Once the participants have endured the blistering blaze of the furnace, they're then transported to a womb-like chamber where they're rebirthed, a sort of reincarnation ceremony in line with the majority of traditional Chinese religious beliefs. While you wouldn't think a ride where you experience death would be popular, some 50% of Chinese citizens opt for cremation when they die. And with death planning